It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Thursday, the 5th of September. I'm Michael Groff. Another very hot day out there today. Temperatures not only above average, flirting with records, and that will continue tomorrow. Now, some increase in moisture is expected over parts of the state this weekend for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. But unfortunately, those rain chances remain near zero here in Phoenix through most of the forecast period. And while temperatures will back off this weekend, we're still going to be well above average. And again, at times, we will be close to record highs. Now, there is some interesting stuff to talk about way out there toward the end of the forecast period, and we'll get into all of that and everything else as we dive on in and discuss. First, the almanac from yesterday. 111 degrees was the afternoon high, 87 the morning low, and with that high of 111, we have done it 55 days now this year with a high temperature at or above 110 degrees. That tied the record. And as we take a look outside right now here just after 1 p.m., sunny sky, and there it is. We did it. Yet another dubious heat record broken. That is now 56 days with a high temperature at or above 110 degrees this year. And so that came as officially at 12:42 p.m. this afternoon. 42 the current dew point, relative humidity 10%. So yes, the air is absolutely bone dry. Wind from the north-northeast at 7 and the barometer is steady. The upper level weather pattern across the nation right now features high pressure sitting right on top of us across the southwest upper heights, 594 to 597 decameters. And obviously with such an intense ridge, a few things are occurring. First, it's, of course, very hot. Subsidence, sinking air underneath that ridge. That means clouds cannot form. That means thunderstorms, rain cannot form. And with the ridge being in the position that it is, you can see all of the monsoon moisture is suppressed far to the south and east across central Mexico. And that's not coming our way, at least not for the next day or so. But we will see at least some increase in moisture as we head toward this weekend. The watch warning map out here in the west, it's all about the heat. Heat advisories and excessive heat warnings over the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, Medford, Burns, Spokane, Washington, Boise, Idaho. Yeah, it's going to be hot. And again, some spots will flirt with record highs up there. The valleys of California, Southern California, up into the Mojave Desert, the Las Vegas Valley, and across western and southwest Arizona, and the south central deserts here of Arizona, including Phoenix. That's an excessive heat warning for us, and that's in effect through 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. All right, the convective outlook for today. We do have a risk of severe storms, that marginal risk, level 1 out of 5 around Albuquerque and Santa Fe. And right along the eastern border of Arizona, the SPC has defined thunderstorms are possible. And I suppose there could be a stray storm that just sneaks into eastern Arizona today. But for the most part, we should stay dry statewide. Really any chance of storms, meaningful chance of rain would come in tomorrow and Saturday perhaps. But again, that's mainly over the higher terrain of northern and eastern Arizona, as we'll talk about in modeling in just a second. All right, the tropics in the Atlantic Basin. Now, you might think this looks like a very active map. I mean, you've got five X's on the board, 5 areas of disturbed weather, 5 points of interest. But really, this is mostly a lot of noise. I don't think these systems have a very good chance of developing. We'll go through this. All right, you got that system out there over the Gulf of Mexico. We're not too worried about that. There's a feature in the Western Caribbean that will drift into the Bay of Campeche at some point in the next few days, and that does have at least some possibility to develop into a tropical system. We will keep an eye on that, and as it goes into the southern Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche will probably start to turn north. That could affect the Texas coast, maybe Louisiana. The other 3 systems out there, a very low chance that anything will happen there. That system off the East Coast, that feature out there near the islands and over the central Atlantic. I don't think any of those systems really amount to much. But of course, it is the climatological peak of the hurricane season, and we will keep an eye on this. If you look at social media, you'd think that, oh my God, we're about to have 5 hurricanes on the board. But no, It is unlikely any of these become a hurricane. It's really fairly unlikely that any of them become a tropical storm, but obviously, we'll keep vigilant. All right, let's take a look at the precipitation outlook. Now, this is valid through Thursday morning of next week, and rain amounts in Phoenix, nothing. Statewide, a little bit of precipitation possible. The Northwest Plateau, the Rim Country, the eastern mountains of our state, but even at that, rain amounts will generally be 1/4 of an inch or less. Any one spot can obviously see more than that, but for the most part, we should stay relatively dry. And we'll talk about why that is, and we'll even discuss a little bit of a fly in the ointment to the forecast way out there as we get to the models here. Take a look at things. This is the GFS. It is the 12Z running. It's valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Strong ridging out here across the west, nosing well on up into Canada, across British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, obviously above average temperatures all the way from northwest Mexico into Canada. And of course, we're under the influence of that ridge, so what it means down at the surface for the rest of the afternoon, well, what you see is what you get. Sunny, very hot, highs 110 to 114. And so we could be pushing for another record here. And there could be some more records falling by the wayside across the state and across the region. An isolated storm right along the eastern border of our state. Most of the storm should stay over there in New Mexico. Now for tonight, we're clear. Overnight lows generally upper 70s to upper 80s. Tomorrow, more of the same. Sunny, very hot. Temperatures might come down a degree or two, though. Highs, I'd say around 108 to 112. All right, let's head toward the weekend, and a few things happening here. We've got a trough off the Pacific Northwest coast. We've got the ridge moving a little further east, and so a return flow around that could bring some moisture into Arizona, but there's not a lot of dynamic support here, and over the south central deserts, there's just a bunch of warm air aloft, and even though moisture levels will increase slightly, I think really any real chance of storms should be confined to northern Arizona, maybe the Northwest Plateau, maybe even out into parts of southeast California, the higher terrain of southern Nevada. I guess even the Las Vegas Valley might see a storm, but around here, about the closest we'll see to any storms, maybe the mountains of La Paz County, maybe far northern Maricopa County might see a storm. But here in the lower deserts, including Phoenix, I just don't see that happening. And so on Saturday, we'll call for high temperatures falling back to around 105 to 109. Now, obviously, that's still way above average. And same thing on Sunday, 104 to 108. The sky's sunny, the air dry. Monday, high pressure is still in control. I mean, there's no change. High temperatures should still be around 105 to 109. The one thing we are watching is the evolution of a much stronger trough along the Pacific Northwest coast. And that will likely become a force for us as we get later into next week. Here's Tuesday. We're still hot and dry here. Highs may actually be pushing back toward 110. But then Wednesday, that trough continues, and we should see some showers for the Northern California coast up to parts of Washington and Oregon, and moving eastward toward the Treasure Valley of Idaho, might see a shower storm. And obviously the Sawtooth Mountains could see some rain up there, but obviously we're going to be dry. But temperatures may fall back a few degrees at this point as the ridge becomes displaced and the upper heights start to fall off, although I still expect afternoon highs will still be above average. Here's a week from today, Thursday the 12th. Now the trough is moving further south and actually moving into the Great Basin. And the GFS, as we have seen on many, many runs now, develops a tropical cyclone over the eastern Pacific and starts to move it up toward the Baja somewhere. Where exactly? Well, that depends on what model you look at and when you look at it. Some of our ensemble guidance has it moving up the west coast of Mexico and turning toward Arizona. Some of them bring it up toward the southern Gulf of California and ultimately into central or northern Mexico, but steering most of the moisture east of the state. And that seems to be what this run of the GFS is doing. It's developing this tropical cyclone. It has this trough out there, but the trough lifts the system a little bit at a bad trajectory for us, at a bad angle, and takes it more toward New Mexico and West Texas. And in that scenario, we probably wouldn't see any precipitation at all, although we would see slightly cooler temperatures. Highs would fall back a few more degrees. but no precipitation for us. Some members have that tropical cyclone further west. Some don't develop it at all. Let's just face it here. We're talking about a system that's not even on the board. Nothing's even developed down there. So obviously, this is the time of year where we watch for those tropical cyclones to potentially come this way. But I just don't see that happening. We'll watch model trends and we'll see, though. All right. At this point, though, we're going to go with a dry forecast for next week and a very gradual downtrend in temperatures. Here's going out 10 days. This is Saturday, the 14th. Look at that ridge up across eastern Canada. My goodness, I mean, that's way up there. Some sort of upper low developing across the southeast U.S. That's an interesting feature to keep an eye on. Almost a little bit of a Rex block pattern there. And for us, again, that tropical cyclone, the GFS brings the moisture from that and the remnant circulation up into West Texas. Again, not going to worry about that either. And another trough, a baggy trough sitting out there over the Pacific Northwest and a dampened ridge here over the Southwest. So temperatures would be down quite a bit, closer to average. Highs would probably be in the upper 90s to around 103 if that verifies. But again, we would be fairly dry. All right, let's look at precipitation. This is off of the GFS ensemble. This goes out through the 19th of September, and there's a fair number of the members here that do show some precipitation, whether it's a few hundredths or, an inch of rain. The ensemble mean is actually still up there pretty high. Well, not really. I mean, a third of an inch, but that's better than it was. I mean, the other day, remember, we were talking about the ensemble mean for both of these being in a few hundredths of an inch. Now it's up around a third of an inch. The control member is way up there at about between 0.8 of an inch and 1 inch. The European ensemble, it still remains not as bullish. Again, around a third or under a third of an inch. And the control member is up there a little bit. But I mean, look, I don't think we've got one member here in the European that's way over 2 inches of rain. But almost all of the members, with the exception of a few of these members, have no real significant rainfall in here. There are a few that buy into a tropical cyclone affecting us next week and the following weekend. I'm not going with that. And again, just got to watch those model trends and see how that plays out. Look at the temperatures off the national blend of models. Obviously, we are just sizzling today and tomorrow and even over the weekend and early next week. Just way above average and flirting with record highs. But then as we get deeper into next week and toward the following weekend, temperatures will continue to trend down. Some of our individual members and our deterministic guidance actually brings high temperatures below 100 degrees out there toward the weekend of the 14th. Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. But no doubt we're going to see some downtrend in temperatures given current model trends. All right. That's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we do here, then click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube, make those monetary contributions, or you can donate directly to us via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is the address via PayPal. That's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle, check her out. Check out her videos, check out her blogs, check out everything that's Michelle related linked up down in the description. And you can also, while you're there, give a listen to our streaming station, available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun over there, so give that a listen as well. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support, it is immensely appreciated. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and you guys have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Thursday.